Faster alone, but further together is my favorite line nowadays.
Fast is smooth and smooth is fast.
If our staff is that committed to their brand and their reputation, then I feel like we're set up for nothing but success. One of my friends was making fun of me, like, hey man, I'm just trying to get 1% better every day. So I'm getting there. I'm working on it.
Yeah. Everyone comes into your life for one reason or another.
Yeah,
whether
for
it's
sure.
good or bad, but you know what? It's what you learn from that.
When you stop caring about you and you start caring about the people around you, then you make the most money you've ever made in your life. And
100%.
And then they tend to, flock with you.
Hey, ho, hey, ho.
You are now tuned in to the best roofing podcast in the world.
The Roof Trollz. Here we go, here we go, here we go, yeah.
Roof Trollz.
Roof Trollz.
Yeah, Roof Trollz. Yeah, we're
Yay.
back. Pumped this week. We got an awesome guest here, Wade Tutt. Most people do know him in this industry, but if you don't know him, you're going to get to know him right now. Wade, how's it been?
It's been good, brother. How you been?
Excellent. Just doing our thing here at Romans. Got the podcast up and running. You were one of the guests that we wanted to get on here originally anyway. You were on our list when we first came up with the concept of the podcast, and we were like, what better time now? And you got some cool shit going on right now.
I got a lot of shit going on right now.
Yeah, so tell us about it. What's your background? Tell us about where it all started at, and then get us up here, because we met in 2017, so this has been quite a ride for you.
I mean, 2017, I was already
A PA.
18 years in the game at that point in time.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I tell people a little bit of my background, and Armalis has heard me tell this story, but like, construction's all I know, right? I thought for sure when I was in high school, I wanted to be a athletic trainer. Like, I wanted to be a guy on the football field. When the guy gets injured, I run out and put him in the air cast and send him on. That's what I wanted to do. And then I was like, college isn't for me. And then I was like, I'm gonna be a paramedic. And then I went and got my paramedic's license, and I found out how much paramedics make, and I'm like, well, that's not for me. And then I go, well, I'm gonna be a cop. And I tried that for a couple of years. I was a auxiliary sheriff's deputy back home, and then I'm like, no, that's not for me. But throughout all of that, I was always doing sales in the world of the construction industry. So in '99, I started working at Menards in Bradley, Illinois, and ended up becoming the assistant building materials manager there when I was 18, and then got recruited to run the contractor sales department at Lowe's in 2002.
What does that look like, though? Like, what is that? I've never even heard of that title before. So, like, what did you do at Lowe's?
My job was to just go and get contractors to start buying from the Lowe's from the Lowe's building materials section.
Okay, so it's like an outside rep for like
essentially,
a supply
yeah, where you're
company.
calling directly to contractors.
Okay.
And then had a small stint knocking doors, selling whole home water purification systems, which I feel like was a great, for all of us that we all knock doors, right? We've all knocked doors in our career. It was a great learning lesson. And then spent a number of years then in material sales and distribution. And then in 2014, at the time, my biggest customer, he asked me to help him run and scale his company. He had this kind of $6 million a year company that could sell, but kind of operationally was wonky. We all know.
This is all right after Lowe's.
This is all fast forward to 2014.
You were at Lowe's this whole time.
No, I was at Lowe's
Allied.
and then at the lumber industry, and then Allied from 07 to 14. So I was selling exclusively roofing products from 07 to 14 to contractors, inside sales, outside sales, and then I ran the Allied Building Products branch on 84th and the Dan Ryan.
Okay.
And then, in 14, decided to become the GM of a roofing company. We scaled that company, as you guys know, from roughly $6 million in sales, and then a couple of years later, almost 30.
You don't want to give them a shout out at all, huh?
And so then, in the middle of that, to Elijah's point or comment earlier, we had a super unique opportunity. I love telling this story. We had a super unique opportunity. As we all know, in Illinois, you can be a PA and a contractor, right?
Yep.
And we'd gotten our PA licenses because we wanted our name on the check. That was it, right? That's all early on in the game. That's all that mattered, right?
That's pretty much what the majority of people get the PA for. It has nothing to do with battling the insurance companies.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we got our names on the check because we were working in some areas where that second check disappeared often. So get your name on the check, right? And then I realized that if you educated yourself a little bit you could better serve your clients and make the process a little easier. So started to get real heavy into public adjusting. And then in 2016, there was a law firm downtown, Childress Duffy at the time, who you had 3 powerhouse attorneys who kind of created first-party plaintiff work here in the Midwest that I got a masterful education from. You know, I give a ton of credit for what I know because I went from being, you know, a guy that knew construction pretty well to, you know, a subject matter expert on large loss insurance claims in a matter of a couple of years because those guys at Childress Duffy, I mean, they opened up the books and they showed me everything. They really, really taught me the meat and potatoes of how to really be a real PA. And I'm not saying that like, you know, I do have an opinion on real PAs and guys that just sign claims.
No, it's important, man. And you're one of the few contractors out there that has been on that side of it. You know, he obtained his public adjuster's license. He obtained his, I obtained mine. So like, I believe that that's something that we can brag about. That we, you know, you can flex on people a little bit on that because we've seen both sides of it. Yeah. And that's how I met you. I took Dell's class when he was giving the classes for the public adjuster's license.
Oh my God, that's right.
Which is crazy because that class actually had a lot of people that are in this industry. You know, Ryan Ward got his license then. Blake Thorne got his license then.
I remember that.
Heather got her license. And like all of us took that class together. You know, Angelo got his license like all of us did. So that class was crazy to think back. And then even realizing sometimes later when we talk to people how many other people were in that class too, it's mind-blowing. But Dell introduced you and you gave us the business card to the company you don't want to mention. But I still have that business card. But yeah, so that's when I first met you. And then obviously later down the road, we ended up doing business together. But yeah, crazy, small world.
Well, you might have been promoting something else then, because I believe that was when Mid-America would send people.
No, I remember the business card was similar logo to ours. And
it wasn't. Can we speak on that other company then?
Whatever.
The PA company, Paramount, because I would have figured that would have been.
Yeah, Paramount.
That's what. That was the company. Yes, that was the company.
Paramount's Paramount Loss Consulting is my company.
So you were with Paramount then. So the business card you gave me.
I own Paramount. I still own Paramount to this day. We don't really operate much anymore. But yeah, so to kind of round that, and you're right, man. Like that was to think back at that point in time, and that really for me that was a humongous inflection point in my career because I invested a ton of time and money into becoming a subject matter expert, and then I kind of started to start educating people and partnering with people like you guys, right, and learning a shitload. And so that worked really well. We worked a number of hurricanes: Harvey, Michael, Irma, Matthew, and I'm so glad I got the opportunity to work large loss insurance claims because it really gives you it gave me context because then when I went back to the world of residential, you know, you look at things very differently. But anyway, to kind of round out this very long-winded story of my background, we then got involved in, you know, we all got involved in one of the very first roll-ups in the industry. And I tell that story like there's a lot of M&A that's going on in the roofing industry right now. And we were at the beginning of it. Like I sat at a call, not with the company that ended up acquiring us, but another company who's now a $650 million a year company owned by one of the largest private equity groups in the world. Wow. We had a call with that company back in 2018. So we were all kind of collectively for good, bad, or otherwise involved with some of the first roll-ups in the industry. We all know how that went.
Yeah.
And then I took a little bit of time off. My wife and I had our first child. We had our little girl, Andy.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. She'll be, can't believe she's going to be 2 in December. But then I got an amazing opportunity to do, I think, one of the coolest jobs in the industry was being a strategic account manager at GAF. This
is the part that's crazy to me. So, like, You jump from the knowledge of the construction aspects of it. You have that, and you're in the thick of things. You're through the PA. You're through the contractor aspect of it, and now you get to see the third world, which is like a lot of us aren't privy to that. Angelo's actually one of the few people that we work with that actually got to see that other side and outside sales. And right now, one of the new reps we got, which is one of our top guys, actually, he was an outside rep for ABC as well. So both of them come from ABC. But you going to the manufacturer. That's a whole new ball game in itself.
It was super unexpected, right? It was a casual conversation I was having with a VP at GAF about, what I was maybe going to do with my career. And that morphed into getting a job offer that I never thought, So I worked in distribution, right? I worked for Allied, right? In the lumber industry. Then I went to be a contractor and then a PA. So I'd kind of done 2 of the 3 sides of our industry. And then when the GAF thing came around, part of it was great opportunity, awesome company, great role for me, but I definitely wanted to kind of see what was behind the curtain on that side.
For sure. That would be my number one thing. Like, I'm sure it paid well. And honestly, when we were told that you were doing that, and I saw it on LinkedIn and all that stuff, I was like, is there a better role for Wade? I honestly got, like, all of us made jokes about that.
Yeah,
like, every time we see it, they're like, oh, Wade's got that credit card. He's got that GAF card now. He's out there, all jokes aside, though, but, like, you're the guy for that role. Like, you are. If I envisioned you in anything outside of this, that would probably be some type of role like that. Like, Phil Townsend, I know you guys know good relationship there. Yeah, same thing with him. Like, you're just made for that role, dude. Like, that's what you're supposed to do.
I was super humbled to get that offer because, at a company like GAF, to be offered a role like that at GAF. So in GAF, there's, I don't even know how many thousands of employees, I want to say, and forgive me, I want to say 5,000 or 6,000, something like that. And there's 6 people that are strategic account managers, different verticals, different silos of the business they serve. And so when I got that offer, I was super humbled to get picked, right? Because our industry's so big and there's a lot of qualified people. And man, people have opinions, but I'll die on this hill that GAF is an awesome company. They treat their people like gold. And I really learned that last little bit of knowledge that I didn't have in the industry. I got a master class in from a handful of really, 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 really smart people that have a lot of influence in the industry. So that was, and to be honest with you, it was not, I thought that was it. Like, I was going to be there for a super long time, right? That was going to be, because like you said, like it felt like a natural fit for me.
Yeah, it looked like it from the outside.
It felt like a very natural fit, and I felt very appreciated, and they took good care of me. But man, I had a once in 5 lifetime opportunity get presented to me, and I couldn't, for my family, I couldn't not take it.
Yeah.
So life changed a ton.
Yeah, and
2 months ago.
Yes. So when we first started this whole thing, we were like, we got to get Wade on here. He'd be a good person to talk to. Obviously, we have the relationships. We've worked together in the past. We just been through a whole bunch. And honestly, like I said earlier, you have been through like a roller coaster, man. I don't know many people that honestly have done more than you have in the last year. Like you've just, it's been crazy watching, like you've moved around a lot, and now you're in a position where you're back in this. So then I guess the question is, like, is it the dog in you? Like, what made you want to get back into this? Because there has to be something outside. I know you were happy at GAF. I know you were comfortable at GAF.
Yeah.
So what is it that ate at you to get you out of that?
So there is part of that, right? So it's a different world. So you guys have all been on the side of entrepreneur or small business operator for a long time now, right?
It's the best.
Man, I gave an example to somebody a couple of weeks ago that I missed the lightning, and now my hand's back on the lightning bolt. And that surge of, you work your ass off in manufacturing, because there's things that you have to think and worry about that are so macro when you work for a company like GAF that, and don't take this any offense, like you guys aren't even thinking about, right? There's so many factors that go into it, but it's such a huge organization that you can work your ass off and do everything you can to make a difference, but it's a multi-billion-dollar organization. So sometimes you feel like you've worked your ass off and you've not made a change or an influence. When you're used to being an entrepreneur or a small business operator, your decisions, you can see them happen. And so part of me did miss that.
Right there,
part of me did miss that a little bit. And then when the opportunity for Conrad came, and it was like, I get to hold on to that lightning bolt again. Like, that was definitely part of it. I think the other thing was the opportunity. When I got offered to be, the partner and CEO at Conrad, it was such an amazing company with such a storied history. We're one of maybe 4 companies in all of the greater Chicagoland area, so roughly 12 million or so people, that can do the type of work that we do. It's not like we have a ton of competition. It's not like residential roofing where there's how many thousands of shingle roofing contractors in the greater Chicagoland area?
Luckily, we're not involved in that, but yes, that's part of a large reason when a lot of people ask us why we don't do more business in Chicagoland, which I would like to. I mean, I think all of us would, but that market is so saturated right now. It's literally every day there's 10 companies that are just popping up out there, and the competition level is just insane.
Yeah.
And it's not even like good, healthy competition either. Let's just call it what it is. Like, people are giving away TVs, gift cards, eating deductibles. Like, you know how it is. Like, we've been out there in storms.
Yeah.
You know, I knocked in Aurora in 2018, and a lady literally was like getting $500 gift cards from roofers that were out there, you know, to sign up with them. So, like, that's just...
Go knock doors in Texas.
Oh, no, we did. Pflugerville and Austin area,
The 2 years I lived in Dallas, man, you think Chicago's bad. Austin's
just
bad,
talked
but
about this, yeah.
Dallas is OG, the hardest market. Like, it's nuts how
Before
Dallas
we transition,
operates.
I've been wanting to ask you this one thing. So I met you later in life than Elijah did. And coming from a kind of similar, right? I was like, okay, I tried college. It wasn't going to be my thing. But when you got into this industry and you realize how unique and how small, but also how big it is, how is that ebbed and flowed for you? Because, like, again, so I've worked at ABC, you've worked at a supplier, you've also now worked at a manufacturer, you've done the construction part. I guess my question is, like, do you still get those same, like, wow moments? Like you said, I know you said you were very humbled about the GAF offer, but it's like, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and I didn't even know this existed. I didn't know what a public adjuster was in 2018. I didn't know. I didn't. I was so ignorant to this. And then, like, you know, we drive past Beacon on 65. If you're taking 130 to go to Valpo, like, you drive past the ABC there. You see Richards on 30, right when you go towards the mall here. It's like, so if you're in this area, like, you see these places, never looked at them.
Yeah.
Never even thought twice about it.
Never.
But to be in it now, and again, you know, me and Elijah are from this area. We have friends that work here, you know, that work at the railroad, that have smaller businesses of their own or whatever they do. And it's just like, you've done all these different things throughout these years. Like, do you just still, I guess my thing is, like, do you still just get that, like, fuck, man, this is, like, what I do for a living? Yeah. And there's all these avenues, you know what I mean? And
yeah, all the time. I get this holy shit moment all the time. I've told this story a bunch over the last 5 or 6 years. Like, I have some friends that have MBAs from Kellogg and are attorneys and some of the smartest people I know, right? You know, we'll stand in a room and they'll say, oh, I'm an attorney, or, oh, you know, I'm a VP of X, and you know, just genius level guys. And then I just go, I'm a roofer. And sometimes, like, low key, I'm a little, I used to be maybe a little bit embarrassed of that, but nowadays I'm like, man, it's a superpower, right? Because if you think down on me for one, performing an essential trade, right? That's the thing I love. Like, when COVID hit, and we went through it firsthand, right? We all were kind of our hands were in the mud when COVID hit, and you know, we were identified as essential. But, like, you know, the other side of it is that the opportunities, right? Last night I was talking with an investor, and he was telling me how this guy is runs a family office involved in the world of private equity, and he's telling me how he loves to, like, help business owners, like, realize what their business could be. And I'm like, I identify with that. I remember a time when we had a guy who was working for us in, like, 2016 who, recovering drug addict, had been in and out of prison. Great guy, great kid. But he had that demon, right? And we all know people that are dealing with substance abuse in some form or fashion, and
especially in this industry.
Yeah, no doubt. And this kid came to work for us, got his shit together, found a woman, got married, had kids, and was the number one salesman at our company. I remember giving him like a $10,000 or $15,000 bonus check at the end of the year that year as the top rep. And man, talk about fill your cup up. Like, that's the stuff. And that's what this guy we're talking about last night. I would never have that opportunity if I worked at the railroad, or if I did all those other things that our friends have all chased down and followed. No shame, no hate, like, no hate there. But, like, man, like, I got that opportunity, and it was because of roofing. Right?
Wow.
Isn't that nuts? Like, I got to impact that dude's life.
To get out past what you just said. Like, I think all of us at one point in time have felt embarrassed in talking to somebody about what we do. I know I did my first 2 years in this, even despite the money we were making. It's just like, you know, for some reason we've been programmed from the beginning to believe that the degree and all that stuff is what's important. And then it takes a long time for you to, like, people don't understand how that eats away at people, man. It does. It eats your insides. And then, you know, once you come to terms with it, it's like, well, it's all about risk and reward, you know, and that's like what entrepreneurs do. So everybody that I know, 90% of the people I know, they jump off a cliff with their parachutes on. You know, entrepreneurs, they jump off the cliff and they build the parachute on the way down. Like that's just the difference of it.
To put it.
Yeah. So I'm looking for a high reward for the hours that I put in, and you know, my mindset's focused more on like what I can do for myself as opposed to, you know, some of the mindsets that other people have with that. But yeah, I don't get embarrassed anymore to speak about what I do. I'm actually really proud of it for what
Same.
you alluded to, like turning people's lives around here. That's what we do. You know, like I say, Roman's Roofing like builds people up, and then we just do roofing and siding on the side. Like that's literally how we feel about
It's a great
it.
way to put it, man.
Yeah, we have a lot of guys here that are making money that they've never made in their lifetimes, and they probably will never make again if they leave the industry. But while they're here, we're going to reward them because they, you know, they hustle and they work really hard to do this and genuinely care about our clients. So like when you care,
Yeah,
you know.
for sure. But kind of back to your question, there are guys, you know, now that I'm 20 plus years into the industry, there are younger guys that I see. There's there's a new manufacturer's rep that's calling on our office, young kid, just kind of new to the business. And I said to him, I go, congratulations, welcome. And he kind of looks at me laughing, and I go, you know, you're here. You're never leaving. And he goes, what do you mean I'm never leaving? You know, he's mid-20s. I go, once you're in roofing,
That's it.
you're not leaving, right? You're not leaving. It's fun. The opportunity's amazing. The income's amazing. The people are amazing.
No, it's great.
Like, good luck doing this, making the kind of opportunities that, you know, money, success, growth. Like, it's such a huge space.
Well,
Like,
you said, one of you said, and I'm sorry, I don't remember which one of you just said it, but like how it fills your cup.
yeah,
I think people that don't do this every day don't realize, like, from a customer aspect. And again, you know, we're just people like you put on roofs, you fix their siding. Yeah, but like, so like with us, you know, a lot of our market is predominantly like storm restoration. You don't know, because again, you know, people look at the roofer or the guy at the rail, whatever, as all this blue collar job. It's like, in our industry, we get to help people
Yeah.
in a way that they sometimes maybe couldn't afford, or like, again, and I've said it before, you know, to have somebody cry and hug you and say, like, I prayed for this.
yeah,
Like, you don't, you know, I don't think people always realize that. Yeah, it's cool. And I'll say that too. Like, I'm not as embarrassed as I was because my wife has an advanced degree. I've been to these cool Christmas parties in downtown Chicago, and most of their spouses have advanced degrees.
Yeah.
And I get academically dismissed from college.
yeah.
And, you know, and now, you know, at this point though, I get to say, yeah, I'm part of, because what I said, I'm part owner of a roofing company. And they kind of look
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, you own it? I'm like, yeah, I do, with one of
Yeah.
my best friends.
Yeah.
And that's cool to say, but that's just like what I do. Like, the other part of it is like, dude, when people call in and they just say thank you.
Oh,
And, you know,
it's
it's
the
like,
best.
it's that still gives me, like, to this right now I get like emotional,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the chills
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
It's like, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's the best.
Like, that's the coolest thing about this is like
Yeah.
people don't get that. They don't get that when you worked at, you know, Allard, or I worked at ABC, and we might be helping a new guy that's, you know, the honey-do list guy. That's a small business guy. But then you see him 5 years from now and he's got a few people under him, like, hey man, thanks for giving me that, you know, small account.
well, that's
It
part of
helped
that.
me grow, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's just it's so different, I think, than just the perception out there of, like, you know, what we do, and there's just so much more to it. And
I think it's also part of that comment I made earlier about like holding the lightning bolt, right? Like, sometimes people think holding the lightning bolt is operating a small business, right? Making sure you can pay your bills, making sure your people are taken care of, making sure you're doing the work. Yes, all that's important. But you're also closer to the end user, right?
Mhm.
Like, that's part of the thing that maybe you miss when you're working for a big distributor or manufacturer. You're so far removed from that person that you're seeing there. And I've seen it so many times, man, especially as you start to get into the disaster relief and recovery. We've all done some tornadoes and really heavy, bad stuff. But like, I've been involved in some large loss fires and large loss hurricane stuff where people's entire lives have been crushed. And having to like be there to like help them rebuild. We did a fire. I'll never forget this. It was one of the most brutal moments in my professional career. Was East Chicago, this widowed immigrant mother of 5, house burnt, caught on fire. And showing up the first day, we got referred in by a contractor to adjust the claim. And I've never been more depressed in my life. And you guys know me, like, I don't get bummed. Like, I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky dude. And the first like month or so I was involved there, it was brutal. But then at the end, her property gets restored. We get to, the contractor gets to give her back the keys, and her entire outlook on life goes from, oh my God, my world's ending, to a year later, oh my God, thank you. And she's like hugging you, like crying. So I think that's the other part of the whole holding on to the lightning bolt is, being an operator is exciting because, you're the one that has to make it work. But then it's the other side of it too. It's way more fulfilling because you're closer to the end user.
Oh,
Yeah. Those are the two most fulfilling moments in this entire thing too, is the end game with the customer. That's always number one. Getting the referral, getting the reviews, the customer that hugs you, thanks you for everything. That's just absolutely amazing. And until you've experienced that, you don't know. You don't know the feeling that can make for you. It's like equivalent to our ladies calling us like a good man, at the end of the day. Like it's just the best. But then handing the check over to people too, like, you're doing this, you fulfilled your job, and then I get to give a sales rep. Like we have 5 guys here that are crossing over the 100,000 mark. I got
awesome.
4 guys that cross over the 200,000 mark.
Jesus.
And to give that to them though, like people think that like I'm not happy about that. I'm super excited about that. Like the more money these guys can make that I can give to them for doing this and keeping up with their clients and rewarding them for the hustle that goes into this, because this is it's simple, but it's not easy. This is an extremely difficult job that you have to you got to learn it.
Yeah.
And even the basics, the door knocking, that to me, that's still, and I'm an owner, it's still the hardest part of this industry
100%.
because
Oh,
think about it. That person's eating dinner, watching TV, has no idea who you are. You knock on their door, they put their food down, they come to the door, and then in 20 minutes to 45 minutes, maybe an hour, you're sitting down with them to sign up, to get them a new roof and siding, and they had no idea who the hell you were.
Dude, I have to tell this story. So this summer, I was working from home, right? And we have a 3-season screened-in porch off the back of the house. And so for those like 5 or so weeks that it's beautiful out, it's 75, 80 degrees, and you got the nice breeze, like I would set my laptop up there and I would work out there all day long. And we've got a Ring camera, so I would get a notification when someone would approach the door. And we live in a neighborhood that's like 65 or 70 houses. It was originally built to be a senior living community, and then they couldn't sell it, so they opened it up. But of the 65 or 70 houses, like 55 or 60 of the houses are like 65 plus. Like they're old. It's an older community. So our neighborhood's super quiet. I love it. It's like super, super quiet. And so we don't get a lot of like, you got the retirees walking, but you don't get like, nobody comes and knocks our neighborhood. Like you just don't get it because we're kind of tucked back. This is what, end of July, this pest control guy, I hope you see this because I just friended you on Facebook. So I'm going to tell this story a little bit. This guy's name is Sam. He knocks my door, and we're professionally trained, direct to consumer salespeople, right? I've knocked, I can't even tell you how many doors, right? Between the 4 of us, we've knocked thousands and thousands of doors, thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
And so unlike most consumers, when I see a person knock my door, give it to me. I want to hear you. And if you're good, I'm going to make your ass earn it, right? I want to see how good you are. And so we'd already signed up with a pest control company the previous summer, this tall, good-looking guy that my wife had let into the house. This guy's like 6'4", so kind of like you, tall, good-looking.
Wow.
And I know. I'm trying to make him feel better because we're on camera.
Well, he doesn't need any more
But
information.
But so my wife had already signed up with this one company, and then this kid comes knocking on my door, and I'm trying to cut him off and dismiss him every time, and he's redirecting me. He is using every single skillful trick in the book, but he's using it masterfully. And I'm like, oh my God, like in the back of my head, I'm like, this guy's awesome. This guy's awesome. But I don't want to tell him. And so like 3 minutes in, I'm like, he's got the sale. So he does his whole dog and pony. And I go, hey man, listen, you got time? Are you in a rush? He goes, no, I got like 45 minutes. I go, come on in the back. And so he sits down in the back, and I just start interviewing him. Where are you from? How did you learn this? Mormon. So he, knocking doors is part of his DNA.
Yeah. Sam Taggart, that's like his whole
background.
Right.
Yeah. He actually, he took Sam's courses. He knows Sam.
Okay.
But I'm just like, dude, you're awesome. And you know what's nuts is I think he's like 23 or 24, and he told me how much he was making. And I don't want to say it on camera, but I'll tell you guys after we get done. But he told me how much he was making and how many months of the year he works. And I'm just like, and I've got a bunch of younger brothers, right? I'm the second oldest of 7 boys. And I got these four younger brothers of mine who, you know, if you guys see this, I love you, but half the time you guys are idiots. And I tell them all the time, like, go do direct-to-consumer sales. I don't care if you work for me knocking doors selling roofing or pest control or whatever. Your confidence is through the roof. You can sell anything, and holy shit, if you sell pest control.
Bro, so we went to Door Con last year in January, and the kid that I tell this story to everybody. There's two things. One, do you know they make 50% commission?
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
So we're at Door Con, and they got this 17-year-old kid, still a senior in high school, 17 years old, and he's up on the stage getting his gold door knocker for the pest control industry. Sold like $3 million in pest control. Jeez. And we're like, man, this is incredible. You know, like, great job. You know, how much do you make off that? Sam's got him up on the center stage. He was like literally like one of the main people up there. Dude, $340,000 was his W-2, and he was 17. 340 grand at
That's
17.
Awesome.
We saw him after. Like, dude, don't ever stop put your money away and don't ever stop doing this.
Yeah.
Like, if I ever stop roofing, I'm going to pest control. Like,
Bro,
I'll ride a
100%.
Segway around a neighborhood and knock some doors for 50% commission. I don't even give a shit what I'm selling at that point.
Right.
I'll sell doors door to door. I don't care, but like 50% commission, sign me up.
Well, and it was funny. So I recently joined. I recently became a partner at the Roof Collab. This thing that a couple of people that we know had already started, and as soon as that idea came into my head, I immediately was like, I shot him a message. I was like, Sam, hey, I'm creating a virtual online course on how to knock doors, how to close direct consumer sales. Will you come be a coach for me? Like, because what you do, like, I think I'm a pretty good salesperson. I think I'm a pretty good teacher, but I mean, that kid's a master at it. Like, there's no way I can convey to the people what this kid at 24, I was just so blown away. And when you see a master at their craft, you're just like kind of starry-eyed watching them sell. And I'm like, man.
Yeah, because it starts flashing through your head. So they're not in your mindset, but you're like looking like, dude, you have no idea.
Yeah.
And it's good that you told them that, though, because there's a lot of talented door knockers that go through this industry that don't get the appreciation that they deserve.
Sure.
They don't get the recognition that they deserve. And then what ends up happening is that talent that they have that comes so natural to them, they lose it. They lose the fire inside because nobody's telling them how talented they are and how good they are at doing this. But like,
there's a reason why it's so hard.
Yeah, dude.
There's because not everybody. There's a reason why so few people do it well. Is because it's super hard. Like it's plus
that's what people don't get. They
Yeah.
just think you guys go, what do you do? When we first did this together, because again, we both were door knockers together. And our friends are like, what do you do? For me, they're like, you left the railroad to do what? I look at roofs. I knock on people's doors. I show them how to get the insurance to pay for it. And they're like, huh? And I'm like, they're like, seriously? And it's like, yeah. You want to try it? And they're like, oh, I don't like talking to people. Okay, well, that's fair. You want to get on a roof? Nope, I don't really like heights. It's not easy to walk on roofs either.
Yeah.
I mean, I still, again, the moments of like, yeah, it's not what people think it is. And
it's not.
Yeah, it's awesome. When I first started too, they're like, here, you can talk to people every day. You get out in the open. You get to drive around with your boys, and then you get to argue with insurance adjusters, basically argue for a living over damages. And I'm like, hold on a second. So I'm going to talk to people, hang out with my boys, and argue.
Well, I just like I'm in.
Where's the contract at? Let's go, baby. Yeah.
Well,
even if I'm not right, I'm still going to argue.
Arguing with the PAs. That was what. So I thought that's what I was going to do when I got into this. I was like super passionate about it because at some point in my life I thought I wanted to be an attorney, and so I was like, what do I like doing? I like proving a point.
Yeah.
But I like to and I know I swear a lot, but I like to motherfuck you with a smile and facts. And so being a PA, for people that don't know, that's what you get to do, right? If you're on an insurance claim and you're doing that, like, you're trying to just prove a point, to tell a story, make an argument. You're kind of like being an attorney for your homeowner. And again, we all know that's the analogy everybody uses, but when you get to do it, and then especially when you get a second adjustment or an engineer comes out, and now you're fighting it over emails and literally just documentation. I'll be honest, and I'm not trying to be too vulgar, but you get some juices flowing.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite parts about this industry. I know we don't get to do that, really anymore, but fuck, dude, there's no greater feeling than someone telling you no, you're wrong, and then you just be like, okay.
I had to that end, I had an interaction recently. I had somebody not very happy with how I did something. Go figure, right? I'm rather direct, and my intention was completely pure, but I've learned as I've gotten a little bit older, like when we first like all got to know each other, I was a straight up asshole. Like I had no tact. It was just,
Well, you drove a Tesla.
well, you know, exactly.
Yeah.
Like bully straightforward, right? Like that's how I used to operate. And so I had this guy approach me and you know, I'm the senior person in this situation, and he is on my ass about something that I did, and old Wade, like I'm sitting there having the conversation as I'm essentially getting chewed out, right? By you know, a junior person to me, I'm getting chewed out, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait for this guy to shut up so that I can slam dunk on him and say, you know, just say all the dickhead things to say. And kind of to your point a minute ago, I go, wait, am I trying to stroke my ego and make myself feel better? Or am I trying to improve from this situation and get a better outcome collectively? And so kind of to your point earlier, like it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? Like, and so this guy's just hammering me. And I'm like, well, I can either dunk on him because I have the authority to dunk on him, or I can go, you know what is the desire? What's the result I'm looking for here? The result I'm looking for is him to be more bought in into how I do things. So I'm going to gently redirect him a little bit and go, so what you're asking me is this. So you're not so much mad at what I did, you're mad at how I did it. Is that right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so what would you like me to do moving forward? And he goes, well, you know, I just want you to keep me in the loop. I go, so you're upset, not that I did what I did, it's just that I didn't tell you I was going to do it. And he goes, yep. I go, you know what, ma'am? You're 100% right. I am so sorry. I apologize. You're right. I should keep you in the loop.
How did he look after you said that?
Oh, he was like because he was ready for a fight.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, okay, cool. We're cool. I'm like, we're cool. He's like, yeah, we're cool. Cool. We shook
love
hands. We
that.
walked away.
Yeah.
But like I was telling my wife when it happened, I go, because you know when you're in corporate America, your claws get clipped a little bit, right? So you got to be way more. Whereas like when you're a small business owner, you can be a little bit more
Like brash.
a little yeah, sure. And so it was one of those moments where I was like, I am ready. Let's go. And then I'm like, oh wow, little old Wade grew up a little bit here. Not only did I get my desired result, but I achieved more buy-in. So kind of to your point earlier, like, you know, how you mold to say things. And it's just years of failure because I used to get into so many arguments and fights. And, you know, when you have 6 brothers, you grow up.
That's what I was going to say. You said that's because you said that, you know, he's got a younger brother. I've got younger brothers. Is that it's always that because me and my brother would be like, well, you said it. You said this, that. And I'm like, it's not what I said. It's how I said it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what makes, and again, going back to, you know, to sales, but I think that's what makes a good salesman.
Yeah,
it's not,
it's what makes a great salesman.
it's how you're saying it. Because again, we could give everybody here a script.
Yeah.
Like the old company we were at, they say words matter, but Amanda, my fiance, is the one that humbled me. She's basically like, Elijah, you have to stop talking to people like that because it downplays your education level and it downplays like what you actually know about this industry, because when you come off like an asshole, nobody wants to hear you anymore. And that was my biggest struggle. And I actually struggle with my brother right now with him when I tell him the same thing. It's like my first 3 years in this industry probably could have been a lot better for me. And they were great, but they probably could have been a lot better if I would have just humbled myself and like, hey, dude, you don't know everything. You don't need to talk to everybody like a dickhead. You get that chip off your shoulder. And I'm still working on it now. I'm still very aggressive. I'm a bulldog. Everybody knows that. But I've taken the time over the last 2 to 3 years to really harness in on being a little bit better of a person. And then that thing that everybody says, which I thought was completely made up, and I bring this up all the time, is when you stop caring about you and you start caring about the people around you, then you make the most money you've ever made in your life. And
100%.
And then they tend to, you know, flock with you. So I've had guys in an industry where 2 years is like the average time spent with somebody. I got guys that have been with me for 6 years. And that's awesome because, you know, like those are my boys and they're being taken care of. But now I find myself like educating myself, you know, pursuing education outside, not waiting
how many
for it to
books
come
are you
to me.
reading this year?
21, I'm down now. I'm halfway through
That's
my
amazing.
22nd. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then I got, I'll be 25 by the end of the year.
We were talking before we started the podcast, like how guys talk to each other. And like, I remember when we first met, I was like, man, fuck this guy. I can't stand him. Like, he is such a little arrogant shit and doesn't want to, just wants to argue all the time. Like, that was my original vibe with you. And then over time, as we got to know each other a little bit more, and you and I pretty much keep contact over social media. Like, we'll message through Instagram or Facebook. But we talk relatively regularly
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
I unfortunately talk to this guy way too often on the phone because we live by each other, but no, it's right. But that's kind of like the whole idea of personal development, right? Is
Yep.
like once you identify the positive and negative things about who you are as an individual, and you're willing to, and dude, don't get me wrong, like there are people that used to be in my life that are no longer in my life that I can't stand. But I've learned
You
from
wanna
everybody.
name any names?
No, absolutely
Oh,
not.
okay, because I
But
could
I've-
probably name a few
But
for you.
but I'll say this. To all of them, thank you. Because
Yeah.
like I've learned a ton from every one of them. And some of the stuff is stuff they've taught me. And some of the stuff is shit that I've learned from them doing terrible things to me.
That's the number one thing in this
Right?
industry. But I bet you wish success on them still, even though you're not friends with them.
No,
Most of them. Most of them. The way
We'll
I
see.
look at it is
maybe
like,
I'm
yeah.
getting there. I'm getting there. I'm still growing. I said this morning on my group there with all my buddies, one of my friends was making fun of me, like, hey man, I'm just trying to get 1% better every day. So I'm getting there. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Everyone comes into your life for one reason or
Yeah,
other, whether
for
it's
sure.
good or bad, but you know what? It's what you learn from that. So wait, I do want to fast forward here 5 years for the future because you've been around, you've seen a lot and everything. Where do you see Wade Tutt and Conrad Roofing in 5 years from now?
Yeah, so we kind of stopped our conversation there. So let me give context real quick. So Conrad, I got an opportunity with my good friend Bogdan to take over Conrad. He had something else come up in his life. He had to move away, and Conrad's been in business for 77 years. How many roofing companies do you know that have been in business for 77 years?
One,
Right?
Conrad Roofing.
There you go, bang, right? And so not only has Conrad been around for forever, but we do the highest end specialty architectural tile, sheet metal, copper. I just went out on North Avenue in Chicago. We just finished a 2.5 story custom copper bay with a 25-inch tall custom cornice. One humongous piece, and it's shiny, like bright copper still today. And I drove out there by myself, and I'm just like, holy shit, we did that. I called Sebastian, the guy that runs all of our crews. I go, hey man, how the hell I'm the CEO of this company, and I'm like, how the hell did we do that? And he explains to me how we fab stuff in shop, and we went to the site, and there's guys sitting on their backs soldering pieces of copper together, so anyway, so to your question, I got to take over this amazing brand that does zero sales. We have zero full-time salespeople, right? We spend almost no money on marketing. Our phones ring all day long. It's nuts. Like I'm literally in my office, and there's 3 guys out there in the front on the phone, and then the phone's ringing. Conrad Roofing, this is Wade. Yeah, I need you to come out and give me an estimate. How many times in all the years combined here, we have 50 years of operating roofing companies roughly? And how many times does the phone just ring all day long? And that's what Conrad's built, right? And so when this opportunity came to grow this just amazing brand, I'm like, I don't know. So to your question, man, I think my goal with Conrad's very simple. Bogdan has built an amazing brand, but Bogdan also knows what he's great at and what he's not great at. Much like me, like I could never have built what he built ever in a million years, but I know how to build sales teams. I know how to create marketing. Like I know how to do that. And so the goal for Conrad is pretty simple. We want to invest more into what we're masters at, which is that high end stuff, right? So we're investing into. I want to find a couple of coppersmiths. Like I want to find some more craftsmen, and I want to spend more growing our reach. There's a couple of competitors in the space who are kicking our butts just because they realize sales and marketing are important. So I'm going to focus a lot on that. But the other side of it too is that when it comes to the residential side of the business, right? So I live in, you guys know where Winfield's at? So like Winfield's right next to Wheaton and Carroll Stream. So it's not like I don't live in some big super fancy house, but I'm doing okay. And I think if I wasn't in the industry, I wouldn't want to hire the cheapest guy. Like whoever wants to hire the cheapest contractor, right?
Yeah.
Most people don't want to hire the cheapest. They want to hire the best, but people can't afford the best, right? Generally speaking, or they don't want to pay for the best. And I think the way Conrad's set up is that we're perfectly positioned where as we open up this residential focused business, you're going to get the same quality of craftsmanship and attention to detail, and I call it give a shit. But you're going to get it at a relatively are we more expensive than Chuck in the Truck? hell yeah, we're going to be more expensive.
As you should be.
As we should be, right?
Yeah.
You're getting 70 years. I'm talking with the guys in the office about how I want to make sure that, and for those of you that don't understand this, but those of us that are in the space, I want to make custom W Valley a standard install product on every single job.
That's cool.
And it's such a small little detail, but I promise you, if we ever bump against each other in a neighborhood, which, I would love that to happen because we're friends and I think you guys are doing amazing things too. But I want my roof to stand out just with that little detail. Dark bronze W Valley in the valley. That's going to make the house stand out a little bit different.
Well, that gives you the value too, that people know that's your roof. Where
Exactly.
if you go into a neighborhood and you see the W values, like that's a Conrad roof.
Exactly.
And everyone else in the Conrad roof it stands out.
We did a job when I was at our old company. We did a job down in Plano, and this super wealthy, and every house was like $2 million plus. And we did W Valley. We were the only roof in the neighborhood that had W Valley. And we had 5 or 6 people that went up to the homeowner and were like, "Hey, who did your roof? Because that looks different, right? Because when you own a $2 million house, you want to have the nicest house, right?"
100%.
So kind of to your point, like, man, the opportunity with Conrad's just bananas because I have this amazing brand with this amazing, like, if I should have brought it in. It's out in my truck. I'll show you guys when we're done. But just this flip book of all the amazing jobs that we've done. So as I build this residential sales team out, I'm going to give these guys, they're going to go in the home and say, "Hey, here's who we are. Here's the story of Conrad Roofing. We started in 1947 doing da 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 da."
Do you have the big name job that we did in your book? That was kind of.
Do you know what's funny?
Can we mention that name? Or?
No, we can't mention that name.
Okay.
But I'll talk about, I'll say this. There's a handful of living presidents alive, or there's a handful of living presidents out there, and I've been lucky enough with Conrad to roof one of their houses. I'll just leave it at that. But you know what's funny is I was telling Barb, Bogdan's wife, who she's our head account. I don't know, whatever. Barb, we got to pick out a title for you, but she runs the books. She runs the finances. And I said, I mentioned that job, and she goes, "Wade, that job's nice, but that job ain't shit compared to the other roofs that we do." And then she pulls out this book, and I'm just like, oh my God. Like, to us, that's the nicest job I've ever seen. But to Conrad, that job is basic. It's a regular roof. It's not anything special. And so, I kind of to your question, Mike, as usual, I got long-winded, is I see building this into a powerhouse of a brand because we can deliver a slightly premium product at a slightly premium price, but have it backed by a brand that has been nothing but excellence for 70, almost 80 years. So that's really kind of the vision for Conrad over the next, 1, 2, 3, 5 years is continue to focus on what we're great at and then add on some complementary service lines that double down on that commitment to excellence. I'll say this and then we can pivot off because I do want to talk about the collab for a hot second. I sat down on day one with all the guys in the office. And so I'm standing up there. Now, mind you, my staff is all Polish. There's one guy, Adam, part-time sales guy. But I don't speak any Polish, right? I know 1 through 2 words, right? And they're all swear words. And I go, "Here's my vision, guys. And this is what I want to do. And I want to do this and I want to do that." And our main guy, Sebastian, he stands up, he goes, "No." And again, I'm standing there like, "Excuse me? Like last time I checked, my title starts with a C." But then he goes, "No." He goes, "Because we've built this brand and we do the best roofs, the highest quality work, and you're not going to bring in some scabs to do some shitty work. That's not going to be our brand." And I'm like, shit, like they care about the level of quality so much that they're not going to allow their boss, right, the guy who's been given the reins to grow this business, to ruin what they've built for the last 30 years. And to me, that sings more to what this company's going to become, because like if our staff is that committed to their brand and their reputation, then I feel like we're set up for nothing but success.
That's the shit, man. So we're on a little bit, probably not as large of a scale. Obviously, you guys have been around for 77 years, but your story kind of correlates with what we're doing here too. We came into this whole shell concept at Romans, and it was a company that had good presence online, a little bit of a market share. Luckily for us, nobody in our industry in Northwest Indiana really markets themselves the proper way. So our shit's wide open, which is why we promote so much. And I've taken on marketing and tried to pump out as many videos.
Your guys' social media page is hilarious.
And nobody's doing it, man. So I'm like, hey, if you guys aren't going to do it, then I'm going to come out here and just do it.
Keep Dozer, keep Jim front and center.
100%, dude.
He's so awkwardly bad.
Yes,
it's good.
but it's good.
It's
yes,
great.
exactly.
I love
love
it. I messaged you that last night.
Yeah, but we came forward on this and we're like, hey, man, we see something special here, just like you do with them. So, this is a $700,000 company, and now they're a $15 million company in a year and a half that we did that. And, we're going to scale that even higher next year, I'm sure. But, like, yeah, dude, you see the potential sometimes. And then, like you said, the original owner, Conrad's, when he brought you on there, he had built something, but that's like where his wheelhouse is at. He's done at that point. So he recognized that, hey, man, I need to get this further, but I can't do it on my own. That's the same thing we sat down with Jeff and Angelo. We're like, well, what can we do to make this work together? And then all of us together, it's just a powerhouse now. Like, and that's what we want to do, is we want to continue to scale up with it. So it's awesome that we can, connect with it like that. So like, I like that a lot. Yeah. And then what did you want to touch base on? Cause we're going to be wrapping up here, but
No, we're going for 3 hours. We're doing this. We're going Rogan.
Donald Trump,
we're going Rogan style. No. So you reached out to me after you saw my Facebook post about filming for the collab. So one of the, it's funny, like how, when you start to put yourself out there, how opportunities just gravitate to you, right?
Yeah.
Like it's nuts. And so I had a couple of friends, folks that we know who had started this educational platform. I had this idea before I ever joined GAF to do something, because like I feel like I've failed a ton, which means I've learned a lot, right? And I wanted to shorten the timeline for success for people by giving them resources to make them better salespeople faster. Because the hardest thing, like being sales managers, is like, you're a good salesperson. You're a good salesperson. You're an okay salesperson. Is like, you have to then take yourself out of selling to train, but you also have to manage, right? You have to manage your staff. And so you have to find this balance where it's, all right, I can't sell anymore, so I have to manage my staff, but I can't manage my staff because I have to train. And so then everybody's getting a diluted version of what put you in that position to be the leader, right? And so Dante, who you guys all know, Dante's a savant, man. And so I had mentioned something to him a long time ago. Hey, I want to build some online courses, whatever, and this is what I want to do. And Dante took that idea and ran with it.
Oh yeah.
And just as
got good people too, Dahlia, Tony.
Yep, Dahlia, Tony, and so great. All those people. And so then the schools came up, and then, but the thing that like really like blew me away was I had said to Dante, I call him up, I go, hey man, I got this opportunity, because Dante and I are tight. And I go, hey man, I got this opportunity for Conrad. Like, what do you think? And he's like, well, we have this thing at Collab. And he gave me this pitch on Collab. The Roof Collab is the full name of it. And I go, hold on. So you're creating digestible step-by-step sales courses online that Angelo can hire 10 new reps and go, all right, guys, for the next 2 weeks, here is your curriculum for day 1, day 2, day 3, day 5, day 10. And these are the steps you have to do. This is the homework you have to do. These are the games we're going to play. This is the in-office practice that we're going to do. And at the end of it, that person gets a certificate. And I go, that doesn't, because there's a lot of great trainers. Like I talk about Jim Johnson all the time, because Jim's the man. Jim, if you see this, I appreciate you, man. You've been a big influence on my career. But one of the things like I wanted to do with this, if I was going to partner with them, is I wanted to make it digestible, because I've been a sales manager. I've had that struggle of managing my team and training my people and still having to run a business. So the idea with the collab is you plop Elijah down in front of a computer, and over the course of 2 weeks, he's given every single script, rebuttal, photo for things to look at, things to do step by step by step by step by step. And if he passes all of that, Elijah tells him Angelo tells him he graduates, and you get the certificate, and you've passed Roof Collab, retail sales, the In-Home Advantage course. And so your reps are coming out of the gate with that expertise, whereas, you're trying to give them the skills to be successful, and it's week 4, week 5, week 6, and they aren't quite getting it yet, but you see potential in them, but you're maybe not giving them the best version of you to give them that level of success. The next thing you know, you've paid them for 2 months, they've not sold shit, right? And then they lose confidence and they can't sell it, or they're not making any money, and then they leave. And how many times has that happened?
Yeah, quite a few. Yeah,
dozens and dozens and dozens.
Yeah.
So the idea with the Roof Collab is that we're going to be able to help you get licensed if that's what you want to do. I recreated all the content for these guys and rewrote kind of everything from scratch. And then Dante has created a step-by-step retail sales training program. Proven, been taught by some of the largest retail roofing companies in the world. Dante perfected that. I partnered with Ty Adams, and Ty and I a week ago went out to Oakland and filmed our insurance sales course. So all the stuff that we know that we always try to translate to our people that maybe gets lost.
Are you the
in
reason he
translation.
got lost in the woods?
I'm not. It's funny. I said to him, I go, hey, dude, you need to go to Alcatraz. And he ended up getting lost in the woods. So it's funny because he and I talked that night, and I go, hey, man, how was your day? And he didn't bother to tell me. That's why if you saw my post, I go, you didn't mention any of this to me. But yeah, so insurance sales mastering from claim to close is our next course. So retail sales launches December 1st. We think insurance sales will launch probably February 1st. And then the next course we're going to start development with, we're partnering with our good buddy Cody Klein from commercialroofer.com to create a commercial sales course. And every one of the courses is lead gen sales, so knocking and sales. For the commercial course, it's going to be lead gen marketing, what Cody's doing through Commercial Roofer, and then how to close a commercial roof deal. So we're going to continue to build content. Our idea after that is then operations and then finance. So we'll get our good buddy Corey to, help roofing contractors. How do you actually run a P&L? How do you do accrual-based accounting, all that good stuff. So I'm super, super excited for all of that stuff between the in-person stuff and the online stuff, I think.
And it's important to say, too, for people listening that don't know the background story. So all of these people that are involved in this, Cody, Dante, Ty, Tony, Dahlia, us, BJ, Jeremy, all of these people and many, many more, they all came from one company. So we were all together under one roof, massive amounts of potential. And for whatever reason, each of us have our own reasons. We were either forced out or we left willingly. But to watch the growth now, dude, that gets me so amped up. People think that I'm a hater, and they probably do believe that I don't survive. Dude, Dante probably tells you, me and him have a great relationship, too. Yeah. Like, dude, I'm clapping so hard for all of them.
Oh, dude.
All of them, except for one person that recently burned us here. But all of them I'm clapping so hard for
sure.
Because, like, I literally want to see them all be successful because there's nothing better than watching the company that had all of it and squandered it away to watch what happens now. Because, dude, this is incredible. Like, we're talking $65 million company that was under that roof. We're talking about training courses that are going to generate millions of dollars of revenue and turn out tons of sales reps. We're talking about you being a CEO of another company that's been around that's going to turn millions. We're going to turn millions. Dante and Core and them are going to turn millions. Like,
and you haven't even mentioned the Indianapolis crew.
JJ, TJ. Like,
those guys are killing it down
there.
what
Cody's doing with commercial.
Cody's all over.
He's currently doing his big in-person summit right now.
Yeah, we talk a lot too. Like,
dude, the success that all these folks you're mentioning, you hit the nail on the head, man. Like, it is so, like, we all. I met BJ through you, right? And I remember when I first met that dude. Love you, man. Like, to see what he has become and to see what Jeremy and all of those people have become, like, you said it earlier, everything in life happens for a reason, right? I feel like the stress from 19 to 22 and the terrible things that I had to endure, dragging my pregnant wife across the country and selling our 5,000 square foot house, blah, blah, blah. God, man, it all happened for a reason. And I'm, as much as I hated it in the moment, damn, I'm a better man for it. I'm a better husband. I'm a better business person. I'm more empathetic to people.
Yeah, we got to see a lot of mistakes made firsthand at a high level, a very high level. And we also got to see some success too. Some of the things that we implemented here, no shame in my game, I learned along the way. There's something to be said about all the companies that we worked at, that there was some success inside
100%.
there. Just unfortunately, there was a lot of mistakes being made too. But hey, we're responsible for some of those as well too. But what's important is that, like you just alluded to, that we're growing as individuals. We recognize those things. We're taking the losses, turning them into lessons, and then moving forward with it. But man, I'm pumped for everybody. We got to end this though here. But
I know. It's been going on a while.
Yeah, Revens is gonna.
She's
We
gonna
just,
kill
just
us.
cut our mics in the middle of this.
But no, it's dude, it was a pleasure having you here.
Yeah,
It's
thanks
awesome
for
to
having
talk.
me.
I think it's so cool. Again, just the quick point of what you just said. Everyone was under one roof. A lot of people have been even at other places under one roof. And the one thing we do here at Romans is we're big on the why. We're big on actually getting feedback from the people here. And like you guys just said, you literally just named 4 different companies, 5 different companies. They all were together at one point. Read the room.
Yeah.
Talk to your employees.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much more like-mindedness that I think for people like us that we realize, because me and him and the people in North Indiana, we met you at I met you at a baseball game because of Mid-America where I worked at.
We kicked your guys' ass that day.
And you didn't even talk. That's why I thought you were a douchebag. I was like, you were in his Tesla and you wouldn't even talk to me. And I'm like, man, I heard so much about this guy. He's supposed to be he knows a lot. Angelo, he's someone you should talk to. That's literally what they tell me. He's someone you should try to talk to and listen to. Hey, what's up, dude? You're Wade, right? Fucking walk right back.
Yeah.
You were my competitor.
Literally
at the
all
time.
right, well, fuck you too. And then
Hey, man,
find out that I'm gonna be working with you in a couple years.
I'm a better person now. I used to be so violent with my competition, but anyway.
But no, man, it's to anyone that maybe is listening or whatever, if you own a company or you're a manager, dude, listen to your team, listen to the people around you. There's so much more like-mindedness that you don't realize is right there, and we're fucking living proof of it.
Faster alone, but further together is my favorite line nowadays.
No, what's my favorite line? You guys will say it because I would say it wrong, but fast is smooth and smooth is fast. Well, how does it
Slow
go?
is smooth and smooth is fast.
I hate saying it, man, but I fucking love it.
Well, it can't be your favorite line if you don't even know how it goes.
I know, but when you guys say it, I just like it. I'm like, that's the fucking... I'll never
All right.
memorize it.
Well, we got to cut it off, boys.
Awesome.
I'm sure this is one of many times that we'll have you on
Yeah,
here.
I'm looking forward to it.
We need to get Dante on here. That's what I'm hearing.
Good
now.
luck.
Say.
Good luck.
He's got
Good
that
luck.
whole thing going. We need to get him on here.
Good luck. He is not a fan of social media or
Nope, not
any
at
of
all.
that stuff.
I know
but-
he's not, but him and Dahlia would probably be great to have on here
Oh my
together to
God.
talk about
Well,
everything.
I do know how we can
Yeah.
get Dante on here because I talked to him last week, and the way we can get him on here, we're gonna have to debate LeBron and Jordan.
Oh,
That's how we do it.
he'll die on that hill.
He will come here and debate
he will die on that hill.
subject.
You're right.
That would probably be the only subject, but he will die on that hill.
He will die on that hill.
For
Yeah,
sure.
well, maybe
we're
we
gonna
just-
kill him on that hill.
Maybe we
for
just
sure.
tell him that's what we're gonna do on here, and then do it.
Okey-doke him.
And then
Yeah.
we say, oh, so hey man, what's this
Yeah.
class you guys are working on here? What's
Yeah.
what do you guys? What you
We're
and Tony?
kinda
Because Tony
giving
and
away
Ty
our
are gonna be
secret
on
right
here
now.
That's all right.
Yeah.
We got
He doesn't have social media, so he won't see this. Don't worry.
Probably true.
Yeah,
Tony
he
and
won't see
Ty
it.
don't know it yet, but they're going to be on here. We're going to grab
No, they
both of
already
them to
know
be.
it.
Do they?
Yeah,
Okay,
they've
so
said
both of them are going to be on here. We do have some fun guests coming. We got both of them coming. Becca Switzer, we're going to get her on here. Deshaun, we're going to get on here.
Nice.
We're going to get Scenic on here. I hope. We got him coming out here for a course.
You got Hollywood coming out here?
Yeah. So both of them are coming out here for a course for the kickoff. That's what we do every year. So we
Nice.
kick it off. So we're going to have Scenic and Deshaun the same week here upstairs when that's done and remodeled. So
I'll tell you what, when you guys get Ty on here, slow him down and really pick that. I've gotten to spend a lot of time with him over the last month. And, man, the way that guy thinks about how businesses operate and how people operate
dude, him and Tony both.
together. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
dude. We talked to Tony for like an hour at RoofCon just standing there, and I wish it would have went on longer.
Yeah,
We
I'm
picked their
lucky.
brains anyway. Like Ty, we communicate with them. We have a good relationship too. We went to dinner last year in Utah at Door to Door Con, and then full disclosure, me and Mike sat with them before we did this whole Romans thing to try to see because I know they wanted to get into this market. Our philosophies didn't align at that time, but we believe in everything that they're doing, and I would never go against anything that those guys had as far as like a view on business, because both of them are far more successful than I can even fathom in my mind.
I'm lucky to call Tony a partner. He's
Yeah.
a business partner, so he's such an amazing resource.
They're great guys, and they're great people. Good father, good people. They care about their people. They care about their business, and they're doing things right. So that's somebody to definitely take notes from. It's a $65 million company. That doesn't happen by mistake, guys.
No,
So yeah,
doesn't.
100%. But all right, man.
Cool.
We loved
Thanks,
having
guys.
you, and
Appreciate y'all.
yeah, see you guys later.